Good morning, students. This is your first class of 11 computer science. According to syllabus, we are going with first unit, which is computer system organization. Okay, so I am giving you today basic overview of computer system and start with brief description of a computer, its hardware, its software, and the overview of computer system organization. Okay, now what is a computer? A computer is a machine which takes input, process on the input, and give the desired output according to the input given by the user. Actually, it is an electronic machine which gives the desired output. If we talked about 20 to 30 years before, the life of people is not as much as fast as today now. We cannot compare the life of previous 30 to 40 years with today's life. Now all sort of our things are today will be completed with the help of computer. For example, paying bill, purchasing something from online departmental stores such as e-commerce websites, Flipkart, Amazon, etc. All those sort of things, so many sort of things which are performed with the help of computer in within seconds. Okay, now we will go to the basic description of a computer. Computer basically consists of two parts. What are the two parts? These two parts are hardware and software. What is a hardware? Hardware is a physical component of a computer which we can touch and which we can sense and which we can see with our eyes. Some hardwares of computer are monitor, keyboard, mouse, printer, scanner, etc. Okay, now the second part is software. Without software the computer cannot work. What is a software? A software is a collection of various programs, okay, which can perform some basic work of the user. There are different softwares. We will discuss software later in our part of our chapter. Okay, now coming to basic organization of a computer. What does computer basic organization consist of? Look at this picture. In this picture, the basic organization of computer is divided into some parts. First one is CPU, then memory, then input unit, output unit, storage unit. All these units are connected with bidirectional arrows to a single big arrow which is in the center of the picture. These bidirectional arrows are called system bus. What it is called? System bus. A system bus is generally used to transfer data from input unit, from output unit, from storage unit, from memory, as well as from CPU also. Okay, if we think CPU has also three parts: ALU, control unit, and register. The full form of ALU is arithmetic logic unit. There are some registers also. Registers are used to store memory, okay, some data, the data which is going to be used in some kind of instructions. Then the third part is control unit. Control unit actually control the overall all the operations of the CPU. There is memory unit also. Memory unit consists of primary memory as well as secondary memory. Input unit also. We will discuss all this unit in our next topic. Our next topic is input unit. Okay. What is input unit? Input unit is one which is used to give instruction to the computer. Input unit is one which is used to give instruction to the computer. For example, some input unit are keyboard, mouse, magnetic ink character reader, optical mark reader, optical character reader, joystick, etc. These are all different types of kinds of input unit. This input unit gives instructions in the form of electrical signals. Okay, the computer can understand only electrical signals, and these electrical signals are either of high voltage or low voltage. The high voltage can be estimated as 1, and low voltage can be termed as 0. It means the computer can only understand the language 0 or 1. What it understand? 0 or 1, which is called binary language. It means computer can only understand binary language with the help of electrical voltage. Okay, now see how this input device works. Suppose I want to add two numbers, add 2 with 3. So here 2 and 3 are the data and add is the instruction. So the computer, which means the CPU, perform instruction on the data. The instruction is add and the data is 2 and 3, and then do the desired output accordingly. Okay, now the various input devices are keyboard, mouse, microphone. Keyboard, all you know. Mouse, all you know. Microphone, microphone in short, it is written mic. Microphone is generally used to record the voice of the user. Okay, the computer convert the voice into digital signal, and this digital signal can be recorded, can be stored in the computer in the form of binary information. Okay, now come on to our next topic, which is output unit. What are various output units? The different output units are monitor, printer, speaker. Okay, all these are different types of output units. What output unit do? The output unit gives us the desired result when the data is processed. For example, if we add 2 to 3 and the processor perform processing on the data, and after addition it will give us the desired output, which is 5. So it will be displayed over the screen, and the screen is called monitor. Okay, now our next topic is the central processing unit. It is the main unit of our computer. It is also called the brain of the computer. What it is called? Brain of the computer. The CPU, or the central processing unit, is the main control center and processing unit. It is also called the brain of the computer, as it guides, direct control and governs the performance of a computer. The CPU has some subcomponents that help in carrying out the processing of a task. So CPU has several subcomponents, which we have already see in our previous diagram over here in this diagram. Okay, the three components are ALU, registers, and the control unit. Okay, so first of all, let us see what is ALU. The ALU performs all the 4 arithmetic operations such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and some logical operations. Logical operations are those operations which are used to compare two different values. 2 is less than 3, 3 is greater than 2, 5 equals to 5. All these are logical operations. 5 is not equals to 7. These are different types of logical operations and various arithmetic operations. The arithmetic logic unit perform all arithmetic operation as well as logical operation over the data, and then do the desired result, do the processing accordingly. Okay, the logical operations gives us the desired result in the form of true and false, where the arithmetic operation give the desired result according to the operation it performed. If addition is performed, the two numbers are added. If subtraction, multiplication, these are all gives some desired output. Okay, second one is control unit. The control unit is called the brain of the computer. It is called the brain of the computer and guides the computer, and it control all the resources in the computer, such as it controls keyboard, it controls monitor, it controls mouse, okay, it controls printer. Whatever the instruction is to be given, to all these devices will be handled by control unit. The control unit handle all these devices with the help of some system bus. Okay, it give commands to all these devices on the system bus. The system bus is nothing but it is a collection of wire. Okay, there are different wires in the computer. Okay, all these wires are called system bus. Okay, now registers. The registers are generally used by microprocessor. Microprocessor is a unit in the CPU which actually control each and every operations. All the temporary data is to be stored in microprocessors. Okay, and all the data on which some kind of operation is going to be performed is to be temporarily hold in registers. Registers are fast memory units. They are fast memory units. Okay, now the main memory, which is also called primary memory. Okay, the memory is divided into two parts, main memory and secondary memory. We are going to discuss here primary memory. What is a primary memory? Generally, primary memory is a memory in our computer which has temporary memory storage capacity. Temporary memory storage capacity means it store only that data on which the currently computer is going to perform some operation. Okay, it means after the operation is finished, the data is lost from the memory. Okay, it means the primary memory is volatile in nature. It is not all the time it stores the same kind of data. The data which is in the memory depends on the current operation which is being performed by the computer. Okay, it is volatile in nature. Sometimes it is also called random access memory. What it is called? Random access memory. And it is also called volatile memory because it does not permanently store all the data. It stores only that data which is currently in execution. Okay, main memory. After main memory, now the main memory, we are going to discuss here some memory units. Okay, the smallest memory unit is bit. One bit store one binary digit. What is one binary digit? One binary digit is either 0 or 1. So here in the table, one bit means one binary digit which is either 0 or 1. Okay, 1 byte, 8 bits, 1 kilobyte, 1024 bytes. I think all of you know all this memory hierarchy table. Just go through this table, okay, and learn it. Okay, 1 gigabyte equals to 1 GB, which is 1024 megabyte. 1024 gigabyte equals to 1 terabyte. 1024 terabyte equals to petabyte. 1024 petabyte equals to exabyte. 1024 exabyte equals to 1 ZB, which is zettabyte. Okay, so all these are different memory units. Okay, and the next memory hierarchy increased to the previous one with 2 to the power 10. Okay, now there are different parts of the main memory. The main memory consists of two things. First one is RAM and second one is ROM, read only memory. First of all, we will discuss RAM, and the second we will discuss ROM. What is random access memory? The random access memory is the main memory of the computer which stores all the temporary data which is reside in the memory for the current operation who is going to use the data. For example, if you are performing some mathematical operations, so all the data regarding that mathematical operations, the data is reside in the random access memory. Why it is called random access memory? It is called random access memory because it randomly chooses the data from the secondary storage unit. Okay, it randomly fetches the data from the secondary storage unit and stored in it temporarily for some time while the execution is in the process. After the execution, it erases all its memory, and then the next execution instructions data is to be reloaded into the memory. That's why it is called random access memory. Okay, random access memory is volatile in nature. What is the meaning of volatile? Volatile means the data, till the power is in the circuit, the data resides in the memory. Whenever there is a power breakup, whenever there is loss of power, the content of the memory will erase. So after the power shut off, there will be no content in the memory. That's why it is called volatile memory. Okay, this is the diagram of random access memory. Okay, here in the block, memory unit 2 to the power k words and bit per words. Okay, the memory is divided into several words. Okay, for example, some memory have 32 bit word length limit. Some memory units have 16 bit word length limit. Okay, previously some computers have memory unit of 4 bit per word length. Now in the modern computer it is about 64 bit word length or 128 bit word length. It depends on the type of computer, which type of memory it is using. Okay, the three arrow given over here, first arrow is address line, second arrow is read instruction, third arrow is write instruction. Okay, so these are the various system buses. Address line specify the address of the memory content where your data is stored. Its address is mentioned in the address line. The read instruction specify if the read signal is high, it means something is going to be read from the memory. If write instruction is high, something is going to be write in the memory. So these are the various instructions which are handled with the help of voltage fluctuation, either low or high. Okay, so this is the RAM. There are two types of RAM. There are basically two types of RAM. First one is static RAM and second one is dynamic RAM. Okay, let's go. Dynamic RAM. Dynamic RAM is that memory which we are going to use in our computer. Okay, the memory chip, the rectangular memory chip which we are going to insert in our motherboard is called a dynamic RAM. A dynamic RAM just consists of transistors and capacitors. The transistor and capacitors, you know that they are used to hold the charge. They are used to hold the charge for little bit of time. Okay, after the time elapsed, the charge of the transistor discharges. So it means to store the content in the memory continuously for some time, this dynamic RAM requires continuous transformations of current in the memory. When there is power loss, the data in the transistor will be erased. That's why it needs refresh of memory. What it needs refresh of the memory. Okay, that's why it is also called volatile in nature. Okay, the dynamic RAM is also called the man memory. The access time, I am going to discuss what is the access time. The amount of time taken to produce data required from memory from the start of access until the availability of data is called memory access time. It means the time to take data from the hard disk, from the secondary storage device, okay, until the data resides on the man memory is called the access time. Okay, how fast is the dynamic RAM to access the data? The speed is given here is 20 to 70 nanoseconds. It means to access data from the hard disk will the primary memory will take 20 to 70 nanoseconds. Okay, it is very fast. The dynamic RAM storage density. Storage density means how much data will it be able to store in a given space. The density of dynamic RAM as compared, it will be depend on the size of the transistors. As the size of the transistor will be small, it will store more and more amount of memory in the more and more amount of data in the chip. Okay, so dynamic RAM, the density depends on the size of the transistors. Okay, I have already discussed dynamic RAM refreshing. Now come on to static RAM. uh, as compared with dynamic RAM, static RAM is fast. Static RAM is fast in nature. Okay, it is costlier than dynamic RAM. Dynamic RAM is not as much costly as static RAM is costlier. The memory element which is used in static RAM are flip-flop. Flip-flop are also called registers. Flip-flop are also called registers. It does not need it refresh of the current. It does not need refresh of the current. It means if the power is lost, the content of the memory will remain. Okay, if the power is lost, the content of the memory will remain. That's why it is called non-volatile in nature. It is costlier than the dynamic RAM. Now where it is used in the computer, generally in computer there are rather than primary memory, random access memory, there are some cache memories also, cache memories and the registers of the processor also. So these types of memories, cache memory and the registers of the processor, uses static RAM. Okay, because they are very fast, they can match the speed of the processor. Now the another type of memory is read-only memory. What is read-only memory? Read-only memory is a non-volatile in nature. It means when the power is off, the content of the memory will not erase. Okay, they are for those kind of operation for which the user want to permanently write some data. User want to permanently write some data which is useful for the system. Okay, there are various ROM chips available in our system in which some important files are to be written. In our computer, the operating system's important files such as bootloader file details etc will be written on the primary read-only memory chips through which the computer should start. If the primary ROM chip is corrupt, our computer will not work properly. Okay, now the types of the ROM are programmable read-only memory. The programmable read-only memory is a memory which is when the manufacturer makes it writes its data permanently over it, and you are not able to change the data once it is written over the programmable read-only memory. Okay, now another type is erasable programmable read-only memory, which is EEPROM. It means you can erase the data and you can change the data of the ROM also. Okay, which is erased with the help of ultraviolet light. Electrically erasable programmable read-only memory. With the help of electrical pulses, these EEPROMs can also be used. Okay, nowadays these EEPROMs are used with the RAM, so that whenever you are working on a computer and if you not done your work finished and suddenly the power is off, so when you again switch on your computer, it will ask you to the previous stage that you want to save the previous stage. It means the RAM content will lost, but the EEPROM is connected to the RAM, so the temporary data which is in the RAM will be, before power failure, will be in the EEPROM, and after when you switch on the system, then it will again ask you to save the system to the previous stage. That's why EEPROM is used over there. Now secondary storage device, which means the storage units. Secondary storage device are the permanent storage device. Okay, where once you write the data will not be erased. Hard disk is the best example of it, where you can store your important files. Okay, generally what is a hard disk? Hard disk is a collection of various disks in a single box. I think some of you have seen the hard disk. It is a rectangular box in which inside it there are several rectangular disks fixed over each other, and in each disk you can store your data. Okay, there is a read write header which can read the data from the hard disk and which can write the data onto the hard disk. The diagram is not given over here. Okay, whenever the class begins I will show the diagram of the hard disk. Okay, the capacity of hard disk all of you know in terms of GB and terabytes also. Okay, now our next topic is another secondary storage device is compact disk. The compact disk is a CD. I think all of you have seen it. It is round circular CD. Okay, which is used to store the data. The capacity of compact disk is about 700 megabyte. Okay, there are three different types of compact disk: CD-ROM, CD-read, CD-read write. In CD-ROM you can only read the data, content of the data. CD-ROM is used by the manufacturer, which write their content on the CD, and they give it to the user to see the manual of their product. Okay, for example, if you buy a book, with some books some CD-ROMs are given. On CD-ROM some data, some flash files, some screenshots are given for the helps of the students. The student cannot write on these CDs. Okay, CD recordable. CD recordable is an empty disk on which a user can write its data and then use the data, and then can use the data again and again. CD read write, rewritable. Okay, you can read and write several times on the CD. Okay, you can write also, you can read also, you can erase the data, again you can write also. Okay, so these are all different types of compact disks. DVD is also a type of disk, but the memory capacity of the DVD, which is digital versatile disk, is very large than CD. Its capacity is 20 times more than the CD. It means it can store up to 4.7 GB to 17 GB on the disk. The density of the DVD is very high. That's why it is able to store such a large amount of data. It is also same as DVD-ROM, DVD recordable, and DVD rewritable. DVD-ROM works same as CD-ROM. It means you can only see the data. Okay, you cannot write over it. DVD recordable is same as CD recordable. You can write the data, but you cannot erase it. Okay, but you can read it many times. DVD rewritable means you can erase and rewrite as many times as the life of the disk is there. Okay, now fourth topic is pen drive, thumb drive. These are called flash memories. Pen drive, thumb drive, these are called flash memories. Normally your pen drive, your mobile memory, your mobile memory cards, all these are the examples of flash memories. These are also called solid state memories. What they are called? Solid state memory. You can store the data, erase the data. You can connect it with your laptop, with your desktop, transfer the data, copy the data in the file. So nowadays it is very common and it is used in large amount. This is written over here. Flash is a solid state memory. It has no moving part, unlike magnetic storage device, nor does it makes use of laser, unlike optical drives. It means it is a solid. It does not revolve. Actually CD or DVD, when you play it, they revolve over their axis. Okay, but this is a solid state drive. It means it does not move. Another example is Blu-ray disc. It is highly compact disc which stores much more amount of data than the digital versatile disk. It has the capacity of 25 to 50 GB on a single layer or double layer. Okay, on a single layer, and 50 to 100 GB on a double layer. It means it is highly compact disk. The technology used in the Blu-ray disc is laser beam, which is used to write the data over here. Here violet laser beam is used to write the data, so that the wavelength of the violet laser beam is so small, so that in a very small space large amount of data is written. That's why it is able to store very large amount of data. Okay, It is also very popular today. Now coming on to our next topic, types of software. We will discuss this topic in our next class. Okay, I am giving you questions also. Solve the question in your classwork copy. Till now, goodbye. Have a nice day.